Hey guys, it's Melissa, and this video is about the grandfather clock and how to make it. So we're going to go through on how we transformed the Graphic 45 Ivory ATC matchbook box into this grandfather clock. And then I'm going to go over on how to make these cute little bases. Those are not my idea. Those are Annette Green's idea. She's with Graphic 45, the special designer for Graphic 45. And her video on how to make these bases are below as well. So we're going to go over on how to make the bases, how to make the boxes, the columns. There's a frame here. There's acetate and a clock. So we're going to do all that. The other video, I have a second video, and that's all about the mini album over here. So we're not going to go through that in this one. And if you want to see that, I have a preview video linked below as well that goes over both of these projects. So let's get started on how to get this this ATC matchbook box into a grandfather clock. We are going to start on our base boxes, and we have 3 of them. Special note about these base boxes. 1, they're made of nothing but cardstock, and 2, they were designed by Annette Green, who is the special program designer for Graphic 45. So she came up with an awesome way to make the base boxes, which she uses for all the Graphic 45 boxes. So I'm going to put a link in the description below on how to get to her video on showing how to make these, because she'll go over how to make them for any size. So right now I'm going to go over how to make these 3 for these sizes, but she goes over the math and how to do it. It's real easy, and even though these are just cardstock, they're really thick. So they're pretty sturdy for just cardstock, because she adds pieces on the inside. So they're just to give it some extra strength. So it's really awesome how she made these. So I have 3 of these guys for this project. So we're going to start with the smallest one. So the smallest one requires 1 large piece. That's 8 1/4 by 6 1/8. Then we have 5 support columns, and those are 3 1/8 by 3 3/4. And then we have a back piece, and that is 5 by 3, or our bottom piece. So that's what we need for that. I'm going to grab my scoreboard right here. We're going to take the biggest piece, and these are going to get scored 3/4 of an inch and 1 1/2. So let's get scored like that, because we're having 2 3/4 inch sections. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to do this on all sides. So 3/4 and 1 1/2. Turn. 3/4 1 1/2. Turn. 3/4 and 1 1/2. So now we have all sides scored. So we have 2 3/4 sections. Then we got our support pieces, and our support pieces are going to be scored 3/4, 1 1/2, 2 1/4, and 3. So they're going to have equal sections, 3/4 inch sections. So we got 5 3/4 inch sections. I'm going to go over that one more time. So we got 3/4, 1 1/2, 2 1/4, and 3 inches. And you're going to score all of them like that. And then we have our base piece. Alright, back to our large piece here. You see that my score lines, and then it has a box on all corners. So we got this box on each corner, we're just going to cut that box out. So I'm just following the score line. And we're going to cut all the corners off. Now that all the corners are cut off, I'm going to flip over and add tape to the last 3/4 inch section. Alright, and now we're going to fold on the score line, all of them going the same direction. I'm just going to use my bone folder to give it a good crease. Okay. So you can start seeing the box come together. We just need to put our support columns inside. Alright, so for our column piece, we're going to add tape to the last section. And I have my 3/8 inch tape and my 1/4 inch tape. We're going to do that to all the columns. And then we're going to fold on the score line, on all of the score lines. And then we're just going to fold it and attach. So it's a column and a cube. Make sure we line up the sides and the edge. And there we go. That is our column. And then we're going to add tape to one side of the column. Alright, repeat and do that to all of them. Going back to the base box part, I needed to add tape to my short side in that second section. Alright. So with all of our columns made, we're going to go ahead and attach one to the end, lining it up, making it 90-degree angle, and then attach this the side again at a 90-degree angle. And we're going to do that on both of the sides first. My finger in there to, okay, so again, holding it 90-degree angle, up and over. I'm going to do the next column or brace. Alright, now that this was attached, we can attach the middle ones. giving an idea of where I want to place them. They don't have to be perfect, just in line. Alright, so now that we got all of our columns, now they do wiggle, so when we attach this guy up and over, we're going to line him up on the side to make sure he's even on both of the corners. Now you can add tape here, but there's not a whole lot for it to grab, so that's up to you on if you want to do that or not. Okay, so I'm going to lean it over and I'm going to line it up this side. I'm going to do that with this one. So we're going to line up the corner. And there is, again, pretty sturdy for cardstock. Alright, and then we have our base, which I already added my tape to. So I covered that. The base is just a little bit smaller than the box at, what did I say, 5 by 3. So we're going to have about 1/8 of an inch or less on all the sides. One base down. This is the top box base. Now we need to work on the bottom too. Alright, for our bottom, our first bottom piece, we have 9 1/4 by 7 1/8. And then we have 5 3 by 5s. 4 of them are column supports and one of them is the bottom base. Alright, so this guy gets scored at 1 inch and 2 inch. Turn it 1 inch, 2 inch. So it's exactly the same thing as the first box, except our first box has, this is only 3/4 inch wide, and our bottom two boxes are 1 inch wide. So we're going to do 1 inch and 2 inch. So again, 1 inch and 2 inch. Our support columns are 1 inch columns. So we're going to do 1 inch, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to repeat that. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and do that to the other two pieces. Alright, for our large piece, again that's 9 1/4 by 7 1/8. We're going to do the same thing as the smaller one, and we're going to cut out the box. So this box is 2 inch size, in size. So we're just going to cut it straight down that score line. Alright, so we're going to cut out all 4 corners. Alright, now that the corners are cut, I'm going to add my tape. Because these are 1 inch spots, I'm going to go ahead and add a second strip and I'm using 3/8 inch tape. And for the sides here, we're going to do, for the small short sides, we're going to do both of those sections, both of those 1 inch sections. So we're going to add that tape in between the score lines. Alright, repeat for the other 2 sides. Now that it's all taped up, we're going to fold on the score lines. All going in the same direction, just like the smaller box. Alright, now we're going to make our columns. So we're going to add our tape to one of the 1 inch section. Fold on all the score lines. So I'm going to roll this around. Going to line up the sides and the top and attach. Alright, repeat and do that for all 4 of those columns. Oh, add tape, add tape. Add tape. So we're going to add tape to one of the sides. Oops. Alright, now that we got our columns done, we're going to go ahead and add our first one to the side first. Holding our column 90-degree angle. Attach. Alright, 90-degree angle, up, over. Okay. Last one. Okay, so then we're going to hold it. Make sure my boxes are even. There we go. Alright, and then our base, bottom, I already added my tape all the way around and then a piece in the middle. I'm going to center that up. And there's our second base. Okay, moving right along. So now we got 2. Alright, I'm not going to go through all of the third one since you already seen me put 2 together, but I'm going to go over enough. So this guy is our biggest base, and he is 10 inches by 8. Then we have our support beams, and we got 5 of those, and those are 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then we have our bottom cover piece, and that's 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. So we're going to get out our scoreboard, and this guy, like the last one, is going to be scored in the inch mark. So we're going to do 1 inch, 2 inch, turn, 1 inch, 2 inch, turn, 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. Okay. Then our support beams are also an inch. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so you're doing 4 of those, or 5 of these, and this guy. So these are just like the last one. You're going to cut the corners, add the tape, fold, make your support columns. You don't need me to do this one for you, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. So this is the completed piece with all the 5 beams inside. I left it open so I can show you, and let's move on. We're going to work on the split piece in between the top and bottom of the clock, which is a piece of chipboard. So this is 5 1/4 by 3 inches. I already added my tape, and all we're doing is just wrapping it in cardstock. So we're just going to, I'm eyeballing, but this is about 3/4 of an inch overhang, and then with my ruler and craft knife, and I'm going to trim the corners 1/8 inch from the chipboard corner. And on a Tim Holtz ruler, the first dash line is the 1/8 inch mark. So you're just going from that first dash line, and you're just cutting it at an angle. Then we're going to add our tape around the edge. I like to take my bone folder and score along the edge. So I'm just running it up against the edge of the chipboard to help it fold over. You can also pick it up and roll. And then we're going to take just 2 sides. I usually choose the short side. and attach first. And then I tuck in the corners. So I'm just going, you can use your fingernail or your bone folder and just push that right in there. Yep. And then remove the other side and attach. And then I like to run my bone folder against the edge just to make it smooth. And there is our split piece. For the top and bottom of the clock, we have two pieces, both the same size. It's 12 inches by 5 1/4. For me, I inked the edges of all the paper, and I used Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. A regular vintage photo will work. When he came out with the oxides, I liked it. It's just a little bit lighter. You can ink them if you want. So we're going to start with the bottom piece first. And I already just added tape to the edge. We need to prep our box. So we are going to add tape to our edges. Not this edge, this one and this one, this one and this one. We just want to make sure those edges are covered. And we're going to, because my paper is about, I added a 1/2 inch tape. We don't need to go all the way to the edge with this. So we just stop short about a 1/2 inch. I'm actually going to add some to the inside too. This is to prevent any bubbling around those edges. So we want them smooth. Now I did cut my paper so it starts wrapping on the inside of the box. So when it wraps to the outside, it's about 1/8 inch short at the top and bottom. So it gives it that border with that cream color, which I like. Alright, so we got the two insides, and then we're going to wrap it around. And I'm actually going to add some more tape just to get it, make sure we got it stuck down. So I'm going to add some 1/2 inch tape on the sides here. There we go, just to get it so it's all nice and smooth. Alright, so when we wrap, we'll start on the inside, and we'll start 1.5 inches in, and then we'll go around, and then you'll see that 1/8 border at the top and bottom. Alright. Alright, first we're going to start by marking 1.5 inches in. There we go. I was able to get my pencil in there. So I just put that in there, got my little pencil in there, and marked at that 1/2 inch line. So let me double check to make sure that's my top one. I guess my pencil was at an angle. It's more of a 5/8. Alright. There we go. Got a little bit better. Alright, so we'll attach following that line. So I'm not going to remove all of the tape. I'm just going to do a portion. So I can work it as I go. So I'm going to take that middle piece out. So we're going to go ahead and slide that in. And it's okay that I marked on the inside. There's going to be a column. Nobody's going to be able to see that. Alright. So then we're going to wrap. I'm not attaching, I'm just rubbing the edge. Pull some more down. Now making sure it's even on the top and bottom the best I can. Okay. Pulling the paper tightly. Oh, that's looking good. Making sure it's rounding my corners good. It's a little bit higher. Oh, it'll still go. Alright, it's a little bit higher on this side than this side, but we're not going to worry about it. I did climb a little bit on the top, which is fine because again there's going to be a column there, nobody's going to see it. Make sure that's flat. That looks awesome. Alright. Alright, next we have 3 pieces that are our back side. So this piece goes, and the back side of our top box inside, and then the bottom of our box. So these 3 pieces are 4.5 by 5.5, 4 1/4 by 5 3/8, and 4 1/4 by 2 1/8. So again, that's 4.5 by 5.5, 4 1/4 by 5 3/8, and 4 1/4 by 2 1/8. And I inked the edges of these guys, so we're going to attach this to the bottom. It's going to go in right like that. This is going to go slide, and we're going to have that little lip right there. Alright, I already added my tape to this, so we're going to start from the bottom. I'm going to slide that right on in there. And I would suggest, because all these boxes are handmade, is to put your piece in here first to see if it fits, and then if you need to trim it to get it in the back so it's not bubbly or you're pushing on the sides. And I'm going to just slide this all the way to the back. There we go. Alright, now we can make our columns that go on the inside. Alright, for the columns we have 2, and they're 5 by 5 1/4. Now, the 1/4, you might need to trim it. So it's going to go inside the box. Again, because they're handmade, you need to make sure that your piece will fit in there. So if it's a little tight or it's bowing, you're going to need to trim a little bit off of the side. So just make sure that both of your pieces will fit. And then we need to... So trim them first, and then we'll score the 5-inch side. So these are columns, and they're 1-inch columns. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll do them on both pieces. We'll add our tape. This is just like the support beams, made identical. Then we'll fold all the same direction. Remove the tape backing. And line up. And these will get taped on one side as well. So you just figure that folded side we're going to put in the back. So you're just going to want to slide in and make sure that it's going to fit against the side. So then we'll add our tape. That's going to go in the back. I'm not attaching it yet, I'm just showing you taping because we're going to add our paper first. So we're going to just slide that in there. So make sure both columns slide comfortably inside, and then I'll attach the sides. So if you need to trim them, If you have to make another one because it's too big or too small, you can do that. Since they're really easy to make. Okay, let's get these papers, these columns wrapped. We're going to wrap the columns. So these pieces right here are it's 2 7/8 by 5 inches. So again, 2 7/8 by 5. And you can do 2 3/4 by 5 as well. It's just for the back side, which nobody will see. So I cut those out, inked them, and taped my edges. So for the columns, we're going to have one side that has tape all the way at the top to the bottom. So this side is going to be attached to your wall. The next side, we're only going to have one piece of tape. This is 1/4 inch tape. And we're going to stop short at the top and bottom about 1/2 inch, because that's where our tape is on our paper. So it's going to attach like that. So we don't need any extra. Then we flip it over to the third side, and we're going to put tape on both edges, again stopping short. So we're going to do the edges so our paper doesn't bubble up when we wrap it around. And then for the fourth side, we only have one piece of tape because we have tape on this side, so we don't need it. Stopping short. So both columns are going to be the same thing. And let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to pull back some of the tape, and we're going to work on attaching it to the first piece. And this isn't a full mat, so it's going to stop short 1/8 inch at the top and bottom. But this will go flush to the left edge for the left column. I'm trying to hold my column as steady as possible for that 90-degree angle so my paper will fold up. All right. Now again, this is the side where it can be only 3/4 inch. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to see the back. And that is our our left column. Just going to fit right in there. All right. So when you do the right side, make sure your tape that goes all the way to the top and bottom is going to be on the right side. And then you're going to wrap it in the opposite direction. For the pendulum, we have a few little pieces. So we have the Graphic 45 keyhole, one brad, and then we have the pendulum piece that holds the keyhole, and this piece right here is 3 1/4 by 3/8. This little guy, right here is 1/4 by 2 1/2, and this is a support piece, and that is 3/4 by 2 inches. So I added tape on my support piece, and for this guy, we're going to score 3/4 of an inch. Just gonna, oops, 3/4 of an inch. Fold. I'm gonna add tape. Alright. And this guy, I've already put a little piece of tape, and we're just going to attach it right to the center. And so I'm going to hold my piece. I'm going to attach it about right there and draw my little circle inside so I know where I'm going to put my brad. Alright, so I'm going to poke using my pokey tool. This is We Are Memory Keeper, where I drew this circle. I'm probably going to add, let me add a little bit of tape. Just to that bottom section, right under the hole. Alright, again. Okay, there we go. Okay. Alright, so we're going to attach to the top of the box and we're going to have this guy all the way at the back and the center, and then we're going to put our support piece on top. So let me find my center point. So I'm going to use my ruler. I'm just going to place it on the box. And this is a Tim Holtz ruler, so it tells you where your center point is. So we're about 2 1/8 from either edge. I'm going to slide this down and get it to the center using that mark. So I'm going to remove my tape, backing, and just slide it on down. Looks really good. Now we need to attach our support piece, and we're going to just lay it across at the top and the back. So I'm going to attach my support piece all the way in the back. About centered. All right. So we're going to attach our columns. I'm going to slide it in and go down just a little bit. I'm removing my tape backing. And again, we're going to slide it in. So we see that little lip right there. And going to remove the tape backing of our second column. You can see that lip right there. Oh, it's looking good. We are going to mat our base boxes around the edges. So I'm going to start with the top box, which is the 3/4 inch box. And we have two pieces. It's 12 inches by 3/4, and this one is 5 1/8 by 3/4. You could probably just get away with 5. It is for the back. So we're going to start with the side, and this is a covers the full thing. There's no 1/8 border. So we're going to go all the way around and have a little bit on the back attached, and then we're going to attach this on top of it. So we're just going to take off a little bit at a time. As we're wrapping. And I inked the edges of this. So we're going to attach the back piece. I'm going to start on the right corner first. Yeah, I have this at 5 1/8, but you can definitely do just 5 inches. There's plenty of space right there where it'll still cover. All right. That's one box. Then we have this top. We have 2 bottom bases. So the top bottom base is, this is 12 inches by 1 inch. And I said 5 1/8 by 1 inch, but again, it can be 5 inches by 1 inch. So 12 by 1 and then 5 by 1. So just like the other one, we're going to start on the side. Oops. Then we're going to attach our back piece. For the bottom box, we have 12 by 1 inch and 9 by 1 inch. So we're going to start with the back piece first, centered, and then wrap. Well, not centered. I'm going to go start at 1 1/2, I think. I think that's what I want to do. Let me just double check. Yeah, about 1 1/2 wrap. Yeah. So we're going to start at 1 1/2 on this back side. So let me see where my 1 1/2 mark is. And it's about there. Doesn't have to be perfect. And pull some more tape out of the way. Alright, now with the next piece, I'm actually going to start in the middle. So we're going to start this one in the middle and wrap around the sides evenly. So this is going to be a fun trick. It's about that. That's not helpful. Oh, I'm sticking to the paper. And then we're going to wrap it to match the all right. There is our two bases that we need to attach together. All right, so I've added tape to the bottom of my box. I'm just removing my tape backing. And I'm going to set it down, eyeballing about, I think it's about 3/8 inch. And I'm going to move it closer so I can see the back side. Ruler. Alright, so, yep, 3/8 inch. 3/8 inch. 3/8 and 3. Perfect! Oh! Look at that. And that's the base. Oh, it's looking good. So next we need to attach the bottom part of the box. So I added tape to the top and then I added tape to the bottom. So I'm going to remove the tape from the bottom. Alright. This one is going to get attached also 3/8. I'm just checking my... Oh, I think I'm on a roll. Oh. That's just amazing. Make sure that's attached before. So I got that 3/8 inch all the way around. How cool is that? Make sure that gets stuck down. Oh, it's looking good. So the top is our top base that we covered with chipboard. We covered chipboard with paper and we're going to stick that on top. All right. So I'm going to attach this guy upside down so I can see. So I'm just going to do it slowly so I don't disturb my pendulum. And this one's going to get attached about the same. I couldn't see the back very well. Alright, so it's 3/8 of an inch on the sides and 1/4 and a little bit. Oh. Right before I press down, let me just make sure that looks good. Well, it looks good. Alright. Press down on this guy. So you got that lip right there. Alright. Bottom part of our clock is done. For the top top part of the clock, we need to mat the front and cut out a hole. So how that's going to work is we're going to turn this guy upside down. And we're going to place our box on top. You're going to use your ruler to measure where the center part of our box is. And we're going to move it down a little bit. So it's about, you know, 1/8 of an inch border. So we're just going to move it down so you can see a little bit like that. Then you're going to take your pencil, and it's hard to get this way, but you can go from this top and draw straight down on both sides. So you're going to lay it flat. You're going to take your pencil and draw straight down and back up, and then straight down and back up. That'll give you your two sides, and then you just use your ruler and connect the dots for those two sides. And it doesn't need to be exact. We just need to get, I'm going to cut a hole here, and it just needs to be an estimate of where this hole is. And then we're going to cut corners, all 4 corners, and then wrap on the inside. So we're giving enough leeway, so if it's off a little bit, we're still good. So we're going to mark 3/4 inch all the way around. So again, marking 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch, 3/4, 3/4. And then we're going to draw our line from our, if I can see the 3/4 mark. Is that it? I can't see it. There's that one. There's that one. That one. Oh. Okay. So now that I drew my square, I'm cutting this part out. So I'm cutting that middle part out. So we're going to use our craft knife and our ruler to make our cuts. I'm pretty sure my craft knife is about dead. Alright, so this we got all cut out, and I added tape to the sides. I need my back piece because this won't wrap all the way around. So my back piece right here is 4.5 by 5 1/4. I'm going to punch the edge. Even though it's the back, I'm still going to decorate it a little bit. You never know. So I'm going to just punch both of the edges with this EK Success scallop. This is completely optional. You do not have to do that. This is my piece that's punched edge. Alright, so this guy is going to get attached to the front like so. Alright, so we're going to add our tape on our edges here. So I'm going to do around the frame. Make sure that gets stuck down real good. We don't need it to bubble around the edges. go ahead and do the edges as well, and stopping short because I have tape on this guy. I'm only going to do 1/4 on the back with my tape, because I don't know how much is going to wrap around the back side. I don't think it's a lot. So we got around the frame and around the edges. Alright, so to attach the front, we drew those lines. So I'm just going to match up the lines that are on the side, and then flip it over and eyeball. Give it a good eyeball of where I want to put it. And then I'm just going to fold this over just a little bit. This is just going to give me a place mark for when I attach it. I'll have an idea of where I'm going to set it. So I'm going to remove my tape. Alright, take two. Try this again without getting it to catch. I guess I'll just start from the bottom. Pretty good on the lines. Alright. Oh, looking good so far. All right, next we have our back piece, and I'm going to add some glue to the edges of my punched edge. Let me go ahead and do that. Just getting some glue on there, and then all right, I'm gonna have to Alright. There we go. Alright, next we're going to cut inside the box at an angle our paper corner to corner. So we're going to take our scissors and we're going to just cut up into the chipboard corner. So So we're going to do that to all four corners. Alright, so I trimmed all of my corners. What would have been easier is if I put the tape around the edges before I attached my paper. So that's going to be fun getting tape in there. Or I can just use glue and glue it. It might be a little bit easier. I'm going to glue it. That's what I'll do. So I'm going to first just get it rolled. Now it doesn't have to be completely perfect because we are going to have a frame around it. Oh yeah, glue's going to be a lot easier to get in there. So I'm just going to add my glue. So we got that one down. Oops. Get my paper towel in there because of that glue. That's gonna spill all kinds of over. I could put too much glue on there. Oh. That's why I prefer tape. But I forgot the tape, so good thing it's on the inside of the box. Nobody was gonna see the mess. There we go. Alright, one more. All right. Looks good. Now, if you don't want to do the frame, you don't have to. You can just leave it like this. But I'm going to add my frame around the edges and get that acetate or acrylic cover on the front of that. All right, moving on. For the frame, we have a piece of chipboard, and that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then we have our mat for our frame, and that is 4 by 5. So again, chipboard 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Mat is 4 by 5. So the first thing we're going to do with the chipboard is draw on it. So our frame is 3/8 inches thick. So we're going to mark our line. And we're going to draw 3/8 inch. Now if you're on a Tim Holtz ruler, that's going to be the third notch. So my ruler's wearing out. So here's some notches. So we got the first dotted line, then holes, and then dotted line. These holes are 1/4 inch. So we got 1, 2, 3. So that's right before that 1/2 inch mark. That dashed line is 3/8 of an inch. We're just going to line that up. And we're drawing out our frame. And once we got that, we're going to cut out that centerpiece. So I'm going to use my craft ruler, Tim Holtz ruler, and my craft knife. This is Martha Stewart. I probably need to change my blade. So we're going to cut around all the edges and get that cut out. I cut my frame out, and then I added my tape to the back. This is 3/8 inch tape. I'm going to flip over my paper and attach. And now we're going to trim our corners and draw our lines. We're going to draw our line first. So this is 3/8 inch border all the way around. So we're going to draw 3/8 inch line inside. I don't know why I flipped that over. So we're going to line that up. So we're going to cut from the chipboard corner 1/8 inch out, just like wrapping that mid-section piece. So 1/8 inch, and so we're just wrapping this frame. Cut it at an angle. You can use your scissors too if you want, and just eyeball it. Then we're going to cut. We drew our lines, so we're just going to cut inside square out. right, now that we got that cut out, we're going to cut the corners up to the chipboard. On all 4 corners. Then we're going to add our tape. So we're going to wrap the outside first, and then we're going to wrap the inside. Taking bone folder and going ahead and tracing around the edge. We're going to do the same thing on the inside. I'm gonna roll, and attach 2 sides first. And I'm going to ink the corners first. I don't think they'll show, but I'm going to just do it anyways. Okay. Then we're going to tuck in the corners. So that's just... So just like we did that midsection piece, wrapping that piece of chipboard. So you're just going to push on the inside, and then we're going to do this other sides. And then we're going to add our tape to the inside. We're going to add the tape to the paper edge. Yep, right along, flush against that line, up against the inside wall. I'm just going to run the bone folder inside just to smooth that edge. How cute is that? All wrapped. So we're going to work on the frame, inside the frame piece. So I cut out several pieces. We have 2 acetate or acrylic pieces. This is thin, and it's these are 3x4, so we got 2 of those. Then we have this circle, which I took circle dies, and and used them to cut this out. So this circle is 2 3/4 and the inside is 1 1/2 cut out. And then we have the little circle, and that is 1/2 inch. So this is our clock background, and this is our background for our clock hands. So the clock is a die, a graphic 45 die, metal die, along with the hands, and then the flowers I just hand cut out of the paper collection. So the flowers will get attached to one acrylic piece, and the clock will get attached to another one, and then we have a brad to attach our clock hands. So I'm going to glue these two pieces together first. Alright, so I glued my clock face to my circle, and then I got my legs attached with my brad, and then I put a piece of tape over the brad legs. Depending on the brad you use, you might have to trim off the brad legs because the paper is small. It's only 1/2 inch. Just use some jewelry cutters. Alright, and then I attached my clock to the acrylic, and I just used tape. You can use tape or glue. Alright, so I added my 1/4 inch tape all the way around the edge of the acrylic. And now I'm going to attach. Hopefully I won't be too far off the camera. Just trying to line it up. I'm going to be all the way off. Sorry. Just trying to get it lined up. Let's see how that looks. Here's my frame. It looks bad because it's upside down. Alright, attaching the clock. And then we have our frame that's going to get attached right on top. And I just added some tape around the edges. Oh, that looks good. Alright, so I fussy cut some flowers and attached them to the acrylic piece for my backdrop of my clock. But first I'm going to attach my backdrop of the box top. So I'm going to just slide that on in there. Slide that on in, and there we go. And this guy, we're going to add pop dots before we attach it. So we're going to give it a little bit more dimension. I got some foam adhesive squares. They're pretty thick. These are the thicker ones and not the thinner ones. And I think these are just 1/4 of an inch, so these should be perfect. And we're just going to add them all around the edge. Alright, I added my pop dots all around the edge. I'm going to remove all the little pieces, flip it over, and line it up using the pop dots as my guide. So I'm attaching 1/4 inch around the edge. Alright, I attached my back acrylic piece with my pop-up dots. We're going to attach the top box to the top part of the clock first. So we're going to turn this guy upside down. We're going to add glue around the edges and flip him upside down. So I'm just going to run some glue. I mean, hot glue would probably work. I'm just using my regular glue. I don't expect a whole lot of wear and tear, so that's why I'm just doing the regular glue. So I know I'm off camera, I'm just getting an eyeball, attaching it about 1/4 all the way around. So now I'm going to let that dry before I attach this part to the body. Alright, now that that's dried, I'm adding my glue to the top. And then I'm going to add my top, which now you can't see. And I'm going to just hold that and let that dry for a minute. For the topper, I used stacking dies. This is Spellbinder's label 36. So I used the largest label for this guy. Now for this one, the next label is a lot smaller, so I wanted to only have 1/4 of an inch. So what I did is I put it down and then I just traced around it and cut it out. So it's as big as this piece instead of cutting it even more, which would be right at this line right here. So I cut that out. Then we're going to attach it centered first, and just removing the tape backing. Might be a little off camera. I'm just making sure I got this centered. And then I'm going to cut it. So the top, let's see. I'm going to measure. So I'm going to cut it 3/8 inch below the point. Alright, so I cut it out, and then I'm going to use this chipboard piece. I'm going to attach it with some brads. Just making sure I'm even. Going to poke some holes and attach brads. Alright, now that we have our piece attached with brads, I added my 1/2 inch tape. And then I'm going to attach it, it's going to be hard to see, to the top. Like so. And there is our top piece. It is gorgeous. Alright guys, our project is now complete. And I added one last thing. It's on the very back. It's just a little strip of paper to hide those brads. And that's a 1/2 inch by, what is that? I can't say, 4.5. So I added that little strip right there and then put that sticker on there just to cover those brads. So this project is now complete. Alright. So below is a link to the video on the mini album, so go check that out. Made a little base for that as well. Look how cute that is. And kits are on my blog. Go check that out along with my new newsletter. You can sign up for that, and my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/webofcreativity424. Please go check all those out. All right. Thank you for watching.